Emma Blake stood at the windows of her apartment, one hand on her big belly, watching the rain come down the glass. The city was down below her, shining and not caring like her husband. She got married to him 3 years ago. When Emma Blake was 28 years old, she thought she knew what love was. She thought that Jonathan Blake, the man who started Blake Technologies, saw something in her when they met at an art show. She was working as an event coordinator, making sure everything was just right. Then he came to her with champagne, told her what a great job she was doing. They started dating. It was like a dream. They had dinners, went on trips for the weekend, and he would whisper sweet things in her ear. Jonathan was not like the rich men she had met at work. He wanted to know about her hopes, what she liked. He asked about her family and what kind of music and books she liked. Jonathan made her feel like he really understood her. He made her feel special, like she was the person in the world. Jonathan was different. He made her feel seen. That was what she liked about him, about Jonathan. The man proposed to the woman on a yacht under the stars. She said yes right away. She did not think twice about it because she thought she had found the love story, her own fairy tale. The woman really believed that the man was the one. For her, that he was her fairy tale. Fairy tales are not always what they seem. Emma had found out that they usually hide some bad things. Fairy tales are like that they have a side that people do not always talk about. The last 6 months of her pregnancy have really shown her what Jonathan is like when he is not being romantic. Jonathan is totally focused on his business deal with Riverside Corporation. This deal is going to make Blake Technologies one of the tech companies. Every time they talk, it is about the deal. When he misses dinner, he says it is because he has meetings. When he is being nice to her, his phone he has to answer it because he thinks these messages are more important than talking to his pregnant wife. Jonathan and his deal with Riverside Corporation are all he can think about. Emma felt a tightening across her abdomen. This was stronger than the Braxton Hicks contractions she had been having for weeks now. She looked at the clock. It was 9 in the morning. Emma remembered that Jonathan had left the house at 6. He did not wake her up. He just left a note. The note said something about a breakfast meeting with investors. Then the tightening came again. It was rhythmic. It would not stop. Emma started to feel a little panicked. The tightening was really insistent. Emma felt this panic in her chest. It was the baby, and the tightening was coming from the baby. Emma was thinking about the baby in these contractions. Emma reached for her phone, dialed Jonathan's number. She held the phone to her ear. Another contraction came. The phone rang 1 time, 2 times, then 3 times. It went to voicemail. Jonathan's voice was on the message. He sounded really smooth and professional. He told people to leave a message. Emma took a breath that was a little shaky. She tried to sound calm when she spoke. Emma wanted to talk to Jonathan, so she started to leave a message. Jonathan, I think our baby is on the way. The contractions are happening often now. Please call me back soon as you get this message from me about our baby. She hung up the phone. Called again right away. It went to voicemail. She tried calling a time. It went to voicemail again. Each time Jonathan did not answer, Emma felt a little more alone. It was like something was falling down into her stomach. Emma sat down on the couch, which was made of leather, and tried to catch her breath because she was having another pain. Then she looked at her text messages. Her hands were shaking as she typed a message to Jonathan. She wrote, Jonathan, I need you. I am having the baby. Please come home to me, Jonathan. The message said it was delivered. Then it said it was read. I did not get any response from the message. The message was, it was read. But nobody responded to the message. Across town in the Riverside Corporation headquarters, Jonathan Blake felt really comfortable. He was in a room with a long wooden table. The table was surrounded by lawyers, people who helped with money, and some looking people who made big decisions. They had the power to make his dreams come true. Jonathan Blake had been working on this deal for a long time, 18 months to be exact. Today was the day of talking before everything was official. His phone started buzzing in his pocket. He took it out a bit and saw that it was Emma calling. He turned it off without reading what she had to say. She had been really emotional lately, he thought to himself. The pregnancy hormones were making her feel needy and anxious all the time. Whatever she wanted could wait for hours. This deal with the company was more important. It could not wait. The deal could not be put off. It had to be done. Jonathan said, "Gentlemen." Everyone looked at him. He had a voice. He said, "I think we all agree on something that's good. For everyone, Riverside gets the money and new ideas they need. Blake Technologies gets to sell to people, which is what we wanted. Now we just need to make the details final." His phone vibrated again. Again, he did not pay attention to it all. His attention was on the spreadsheets and projections that his chief financial officer was showing him. This was his company being built. This was his business being expanded. The phone calls could wait. His company was what mattered to him. Emma was back at the penthouse. She knew for sure that Jonathan was not going to call her back. The baby was coming. The pains were really close together now, like every 5 minutes. Each pain was so bad that it took her breath away. She was holding onto the couch tight. Emma was crying because she was in much pain, and she felt like Jonathan had hurt her. She picked up the phone, called the one person she knew would pick up. The person she called was someone she could count on. Emma was calling because she needed help, and she needed it now. The pains were getting worse. She was all alone at the penthouse, with no one to help her except the person she was calling. "Rachel," she said with a lot of surprise when her best friend answered the phone away. "I really need you now. The baby is on the way." Jonathan is not answering his phone. Rachel Martinez, an immigration attorney who does not take things lightly, jumped into action away. "I am leaving the office now. Do not move from where you're. I will be there in 15 minutes. Have you packed the bag you need to take to the hospital?" "Yes, the baby is coming, and it is, by the door," Emma said between the pains of having the baby. "It is going to be okay. Take a breath, Emma. I am on my way." To you, Emma, Rachel came through the penthouse door 14 minutes later, just like she said she would. She changed from being professional to being a friend right away. Rachel found Emma on the bathroom floor, holding onto the bathtub. Emma looked really pale. Her face was also wet with sweat. Rachel saw that Emma was in shape. "Okay, we are taking you to the hospital now," Rachel said. She helped Emma get up from the floor. Rachel was really strong for such a person. Rachel grabbed the bag they had packed for the hospital. She put a coat around Emma's shoulders to keep her warm. Then Rachel took Emma to the elevator. Rachel was helping Emma get to the hospital because Emma needed to see a doctor at the hospital. When they went down to the parking garage, Rachel sent a text to Jonathan. It was not very nice. She said, "Your wife is having a baby, and we are going to Mercy General Hospital. If you really care about your family, you need to get right now." The car ride to the hospital was really scary. Hurt a lot. Rachel talked to me the time to make me feel better. She drove carefully and got us to the hospital quickly. When we got to the hospital, Rachel stopped the car at the emergency door. Then some people helped Emma into a wheelchair. They took Emma to the part of the hospital where babies are born. Rachel was with her the time. The hospital people were moving fast to get Emma to the right place. The nurses were really nice. They got Emma into a private room. They hooked her up to some machines that kept track of the baby's heartbeat and Emma's contractions. Then Dr. Patterson, who is Emma's doctor for having the baby, came in. Checked on her. Dr. Patterson was very gentle and professional when she examined Emma. The doctor told Emma she is already 6 centimeters dilated. This baby really wants to come out and meet everyone. Emma is doing a job. The doctor said this with a nice smile on his face. The doctor was trying to make Emma feel good about what's happening. The baby is going to be soon. The doctor seemed very happy about this. Emma is very close to holding her baby in her arms. The doctor was being very kind to Emma. "Is my husband here?" Emma asked, knowing the answer but hoping she was wrong. Rachel looked at her phone, then shook her head. Her face did not look happy. "I do not see any message from him yet," she said. "You do not need him right now. You have me to help you and a whole team of doctors and nurses. The medical professionals are here to take care of you. You are strong enough to get through this," Rachel told her. "You have a lot of people who want to help you, including me and the entire team of professionals." Time went by slowly. There was a lot of pain. The machines were beeping all the time. Rachel was with Emma at the time, holding her hand and helping her with breathing. Rachel would wipe the sweat from Emma's forehead. Tell her to breathe. The room was weird. It was big. It felt small, too. There were a lot of things in the room. The one person who was supposed to be there was not. Rachel and Emma were waiting for this person. They were not coming. The room had all these machines and people. It did not have the one person that Emma and Rachel wanted to see. Emma's person. It was 7 p.m. when Jonathan finally showed up. The meetings in the boardroom had gone on for a long time, but Jonathan had gotten what he wanted. They had all agreed on the terms of the merger. Now they just had to sign the papers the next week. Jonathan was feeling very happy about what he had accomplished when he checked his phone and saw all the messages waiting for him. The merger was really going to happen. Jonathan was thrilled about the merger and all the work he had put into the merger. He walked into the hospital wearing his suit, his tie. It was a little loose, and he smelled like really nice perfume. And the coffee they drink in important meetings. He went into Emma's room like he knew she would be happy to see him. He had a bunch of roses in one hand, his phone in the other hand. Emma, I got here as soon as I could. The talks about the merger took a lot longer than I thought they would. We finally made it happen. The Riverside merger is really going to happen. This means our future is going to be okay, he said. Walking over to the bed, Emma looked at him with eyes that were really tired. They did not have any kindness in them, a deep exhaustion, and something else, something that was broken inside her. Rachel got up from her chair. She was like a dog that was ready to defend something. She looked like she was going to fight. Rachel said this to Jonathan. She was very upset with him. You got here as soon as you could? Rachel asked him again. Her voice was full of dislike for Jonathan. The woman had been in labor for 10 hours. Rachel reminded Jonathan that the woman had been in labor for 10 hours. Jonathan, she had been in labor for 10 hours. The woman called Jonathan at 9 a.m. Rachel told Jonathan that the woman called him at 9 that morning. Jonathan had the decency to look really uneasy. I was in the meeting of my career, the meeting that really mattered. I just could not get up. Leave the meeting, the most important meeting of my career. The door opened again before anyone could say a word. Another woman walked in. She was really tall. Looked very nice. The woman had on a dress and high heels that made a loud noise on the floor. Victoria Winters. The person talking for Riverside Corporation walked into the room with a bag of gifts and a smile on her face, but the smile did not make it to her eyes. Victoria Winters seemed like she was trying to be friendly. It did not look real. Victoria said this in a nice way. She did not want to interrupt anything. Jonathan had told her that his wife was having a baby, so Victoria wanted to bring a gift for the baby. She said congratulations to Jonathan and his wife because they were having a baby. Victoria was happy for Jonathan and his wife. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Rachel's eyes got really big because she was so angry. Emma felt something break open inside her. Chest like a wall that had been holding back a lot of emotions for months had finally given way, and now all these feelings were coming out. Emma said, "Get out." Her voice was really low. It was shaking a lot. Victoria blinked. Her smile faltered. She said, "Excuse me. I told you to get out of my room. This is a moment for my family, and you are not part of my family. I want you to leave my room now. This is something that's only for my family to share, and you do not belong here. Please get out of my room." Jonathan got in the middle of them. He put his hands up to calm things down. Emma Victoria is a person I work with. She was just being nice to me. Emma's voice got louder. It was clear she was really hurt and angry. She felt betrayed because of the 10 hours she had tried to call him. He did not answer. "What is going on?" Emma said. "She is your colleague, the one you talked to on the phone at midnight. The same colleague whose perfume smell is on your shirts. I want her to leave this room now, or I will call security myself and make sure she gets out." Victoria's calm demeanor started to break down. She said, "I think you are not thinking clearly. The hormones that come with being pregnant can make women feel really emotional and upset." That was the moment Rachel moved. She stood between Victoria and Emma's bed. Rachel was a person, but she looked really tough. She was very angry. Wanted to protect her friends. You have 5 seconds to walk out that door before I have you thrown out. 1. Victoria said, "This is really crazy." She looked at Jonathan, hoping he would agree with her. Rachel kept talking. She pulled out her phone. She said to Jonathan, looked at the 3 women. He was really did not know what to do. The situation was getting worse and worse. It was completely out of his hands. He was very good at talking to people and making deals in meetings. This was a totally different thing. It was like a war, and he did not know the rules of this war. Jonathan had dealt with people before, but the 3 women were something else. He just did not know how to handle them. 3. Jonathan, are you going to let this happen? Victoria asked in an upset tone. She wanted to know if Jonathan was okay with what was going on. Victoria was looking at Jonathan, waiting for him to say something about this situation. She really wanted Jonathan to do something about it. 4. Nurse came to the door because she heard the voices. She looked at what was happening. Right away she understood the situation. Is there a problem with the people in this room? Yes, Rachel said. We have to get this woman out of the patient's room. This woman is really upsetting the patient. The patient needs to be calm. This woman is not helping. We need to remove this woman from the room. Rachel pressed a button on her phone. Security to room 412, please, she said. We have someone in room 412 who is not supposed to be, and they will not leave room 412. Rachel said this because there was a problem with security at room 412. She needed security to go to room 412? Rachel. Then, said 5 after she made the call. 2 security for room 412. Victoria's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. She looked at Jonathan one time. Something happened between them. It was a look that made Emma think all her bad feelings were true. Then Victoria walked away on her high heels. She left her gift bag on a table. Did not come back for it. Victoria just kept going. The security guard, a man named Thomas, got there really fast. He smiled at Rachel. Stood by the door. Is everything okay now, ladies? The nurse said to Thomas, Yes, thank you, Thomas. And she looked at Emma's machines that were beeping. The nurse thought for a moment. Said, we need to get everybody out of this room except for the people who really need to be here, for Emma. She turned to Mrs. Blake. Asked Mrs. Blake, who do you want to stay with Emma? Emma looked at Jonathan. She really looked at him. She saw the man Jonathan had become, not the man she thought he would be. Jonathan was standing there in his suit holding some old roses that were dying. He was still holding his phone in his hand, like it was the only thing that mattered to him, like it was more important than Emma. Rachel is going to stay, Emma said in a voice. Jonathan will have to wait. Emma, I am really your husband, Jonathan said. He wanted Emma to remember that he is her husband. Jonathan, I am the woman who has been by myself in this room for 10 hours. You were out closing your deal? You brought your mistress to the room where I gave birth? Rachel gets to stay. You need to leave. Right now, the way she spoke made it clear she would not change her mind. Thomas, the security guard, came forward. Said politely, Sir, please go to the waiting area. Jonathan wanted to fight back to say that he had a say as the father and husband. Then he saw Emma's face, and it made him stop. The anger was gone from her face now. This was even harder to deal with. She just did not care about Jonathan anymore. Jonathan had become someone who did not matter at this important time in the lives of Jonathan and Emma. As Jonathan walked out of the room, his phone buzzed with a notification. The Riverside merger issue was still going on. Now his lawyer was emailing him about it. The email said urgent, Riverside merger complication in the line. Jonathan did not look at it. He sat down in a chair in the waiting room. The roses he was holding were drooping. Jonathan thought about what he had done and realized the Riverside merger was not the only problem he had. He thought he had just made the mistake of his life with the Riverside merger. Inside the delivery room, Emma held Rachel's hand tight as another contraction came on. The monitor it showed the baby's heartbeat was strong and going steady. This was a life that was about to come into the world. Emma closed her eyes, made a promise to the baby she had not met yet. She promised the baby that she would keep him safe from being neglected like she was. Emma wanted to give the baby a life where he would be loved and valued. She wanted the baby to know that family is important and that love is not something you do when it is easy. The baby would always come first. Emma would make sure of that. Emma was going to make sure the baby felt loved all the time, and if that meant burning down the gilded cage she had been living in, then she would strike the match herself. The waiting room was a bad place for Jonathan Blake. He was sitting straight in a chair that was not comfortable at all. The chair was made of plastic. It was hard. He had on an expensive suit, but it did not feel like it belonged to him. It felt like he was wearing clothes that someone else would wear. The roses he had were thrown away in a trash can that was close by. The roses were already starting to die. Their petals were falling off. Jonathan Blake's phone would not stop buzzing. He was getting a lot of messages about the Riverside merger. For the first time in a long time, he just did not care about the Riverside merger. Jonathan Blake was not interested in the Riverside merger at all. The man had no idea what was coming. He could not have imagined it. The problem his lawyer talked about was not small. It was a deal. His wife was in charge. She was ready to make it happen. The thing his lawyer said was the beginning. It was like a bomb. His wife had her hand on the button. To figure out how this moment happened, you have to go 15 months. That is when Emma found out that her Uncle Henry had died. Uncle Henry was her mom's brother. He was a smart guy, but also a little weird. He never got. He worked as a software engineer. He did not have a lot of money. He was happy with his simple life. Emma really loved her Uncle Henry. She thought he was a guy. He was the one who taught her how to play chess. He is the one who liked that she loved playing games that made her think. The thing he always said to her was that being smart is not enough. You have to do something with it. It is like having something that you never use, which is a waste of the chess games and the strategy games that the chess games and the strategy games taught her. When the estate lawyer called Emma about the inheritance, Jonathan did not even look up from his laptop. He said, "Do what you think is best, Emma. I trust you." Then he went back to looking at his computer screens. Jonathan was very casual about the thing. The estate lawyer had gotten in touch with Emma about the inheritance. Jonathan was not really paying attention. Jonathan never really looked at the documents carefully. He only cared about things that made him feel important or made him money. So he did not see the name of the law firm on the papers. The law firm was the one that worked for the people who owned most of Riverside Corporation. Jonathan also never asked what his Uncle Henry did with the money he earned from his job as a software engineer. Uncle Henry worked for over 40 years. He was very careful with his money. He lived simply, invested his money wisely. Jonathan never thought about what Uncle Henry did with his Riverside Corporation salary. Riverside Corporation was a part of Uncle Henry's life, and Jonathan never asked him about it. Henry Martinez was a smart guy. He was not like Jonathan, who liked to talk about how great he was. Henry was quiet and patient. He knew that people who are quiet and patient can be very powerful. Henry was one of the engineers at a small company in Silicon Valley a long time ago. This company became Riverside Corporation. Henry kept his shares in the company when the market was bad, even when people tried to buy the company, and even when he could have made a lot of money by selling them. Henry Martinez held on to his shares in Riverside Corporation. When he passed away, he owned 18% of Riverside Corporation. This made him the largest individual shareholder of Riverside Corporation. He had a lot of Riverside Corporation, 18% to be exact. The man had left everything to Emma. He had given Emma all of his things. Everything that belonged to him now belonged to Emma. The lawyer Judith Brennan was a smart woman. She told Emma everything that was going on. Judith Brennan said to Emma, "Your uncle told us what he wanted, Mrs. Blake. He wanted you to be in charge of all these things. He put them in a special kind of trust that cannot be changed, with you as the only person who can make decisions about it." He also wrote a letter. "For you, Emma, your uncle did this because he wanted you to have control of these assets, and he wanted you to know that you are the sole trustee of the trust that holds these assets." Emma had read the letter 3 times. Each time tears fell down her face. Her Uncle Henry had written it in his nice handwriting. He said, "My Emma, if you are reading this, then I am gone. I am leaving you some shares. I do not want you to think of them as a problem. I want you to think of them as something that can help you. I have seen the way your husband treats you. He does not think you are as smart and amazing as you really are. I have seen him treat you like something he owns, not like someone who's equal to him. Uncle. Henry had seen that her husband did not really care about what Emma thought or felt. He had seen that Emma's husband only thought about himself and what he wanted. Uncle Henry wanted Emma to know that she deserved much better than that. He wanted her to be happy and to have a life. The shares were supposed to help her get out of a situation. These shares are like a safety net for you, a way out when you need it, or something you can use to your advantage. It all depends on what you decide to do with them. I want you to think back to when I taught you how to play chess. The queen is the piece on the chessboard, but she is only powerful if she actually makes a move. With all my love, Uncle Henry. That was how Emma started to learn about the business world and how companies fight with each other. She spent the year finding out everything she could about Riverside Corporation and Blake Technologies and the merger that Jonathan really wanted. Emma used some of the money from the trust to hire her team of people to help her with money problems. She went to meetings for people who owned parts of the company, but she did this from away and never said what she thought. She just listened and learned. Emma saw Jonathan put all his effort into trying to buy the company that she already had a part of. The woman had waited for a time. It seemed like forever. The woman had waited. The moment Emma decided to do something about it was 6 months ago. That was when she found out about Jonathan's thing with Victoria Winters. Emma had a feeling something was going on for a while. She noticed Jonathan would get calls late at night. He would also be gone without telling her where he was going. When his phone would buzz with messages from Victoria, his face would light up. Emma got proof one evening when she came home early from a charity event because she was not feeling well. She found Jonathan's laptop open on the kitchen counter. The email chain with Victoria was still on the screen. It had a lot of messages at first. As you kept reading, the messages became personal. Then they became intimate. The email chain with Victoria even had messages. The email chain with Victoria was really something. Emma had not talked to him about this. She came up with a plan to deal with the situation. Emma wanted to handle things her way, so she made a plan. She got in touch with Judith Brennan again. I want to know what I can do about Riverside Corporation. What would happen to Riverside Corporation if the deal with Blake Technologies does not work out? Judith had a smile on her face. She said, Mrs. Blake, you own 18% of the company. You also have a lot of influence over the shareholders who really respect your uncle. So when you add all that together, you basically get to decide if this merger is going to happen or not. I do not think your husband is aware of this. Is that right, Mrs. Blake? The merger and what happens to it is really up to you, Mrs. Blake, because of the votes you have and the people who will listen to you, Mrs. Blake. Emma said that he has no idea. She wanted to keep it that way until the right moment arrives. Emma thought it was best to keep things like that with the information about him and the situation with him. Emma felt that she should wait for the time to tell him about the things that are going on with him. The right moment for Emma would be the day the baby was born. Emma had decided that. She wanted Jonathan to make a choice. She wanted to know for sure if Jonathan would pick the deal he was working on or his family. Emma wanted to see if Jonathan would choose the deal or his family. And when Jonathan made the choice, Emma wanted him to feel really bad about what he did. To his family, the full weight of his failure, and Emma wanted Jonathan to think about the deal and his family. Jonathan was sitting in the hospital waiting room when his phone rang. The caller was his lawyer, Marcus Webb. Marcus Webb sounded really worried. He said, Jonathan, we have a problem. The people who own parts of the company are going to vote on the merger tonight. This was not planned. There was a group of shares that we did not know about. The Martinez Family Trust owns 18% of the company. The Martinez Family Trust is going to vote no to the merger. Jonathan, the Martinez Family Trust is going to vote no. This is not good for the merger. Jonathan felt the blood drain from his face. He said, what is going on here? That is just not possible. We made a list of every major shareholder. So who exactly is in charge of this trust? Jonathan wanted to know more about this trust. Who was behind it? He asked again, Who controls this trust that we did not know about? We are still trying to figure this out. The papers for the trust are not available to us. Jonathan, without those votes, the deal between the companies will not happen. Your whole plan is based on the idea that this deal will go through. If it does not, the stock of Blake Technologies is going to go down a lot. Why? If this deal does not happen, you could lose everything that you have. The merger is really important for Blake Technologies stock. If the merger does not happen, Blake Technologies stock will be in trouble. The room was spinning around. Jonathan grabbed the armrest of his chair tight, his knuckles turned white. He said, "I want to know who is in charge of that trust. Find out. Offer them a deal. It does not matter what we have to give them. Double the price of the shares. Give them seats on the board." Jonathan does not care how much it costs to make this happen. Jonathan just wants it done. I am trying to get in touch with them. The people I am trying to reach are not responding to any outreach. It is like the people I am trying to reach have been planning this for a time. Jonathan hung up the phone, looked at the white wall. It was so plain and boring. His business, the thing he had worked hard for, was falling apart right now. He thought about all the things he had given up for it. Now he was sitting in a hospital waiting room. He was here because his wife was having a baby. He had not gone to be with her when she first started labor. Instead, he had tried to make a deal that was very important to him. Now that deal was not going to happen. Jonathan thought about what he had done. It did not feel right. His business, the thing he had wanted much, was not as important. As his family, inside the delivery room, Emma's labor was getting worse. The pain was coming strong now. It was like a big wave that made her breathe really hard. Rachel was holding her hand, giving her ice chips and saying nice things to help her feel better. Dr. Patterson was watching the baby's heartbeat. She was getting more and more worried about the baby. Emma's labor was very painful. Emma was suffering a lot. Rachel was trying to comfort Emma, and Dr. Patterson was taking care of the baby. The doctor told Emma that the baby's heart rate is going down when she has contractions. The doctor said this in a kind way. The doctor thinks they might have to do a C-section on Emma if the baby's heart rate does not get better in the 30 minutes. The doctor is watching the baby's heart rate closely. Emma is going to have her baby, and the doctor wants to make sure everything is okay with the baby's heart rate during contractions. The baby's heart rate is the thing the doctor is worried about right now. Emma nodded. She was too tired to say anything. The pain was really bad. Her mind was clear. She had started something. Now, she just had to make it through this to see what happens with the events she had set in motion. Emma had to survive enough to see the events she had set in motion come to an end. Rachel's phone buzzed with a text from Judith Brennan. The message said the vote is happening now. Far 18% of the people voted no, like we told them to. This means the merger is not going to happen. The stock for Blake Technologies is down a lot, 42% after the market closed. Our message got through to the people who voted. The merger is dead. Blake Technologies stock is down 42% in after-hours trading. Rachel squeezed Emma's hand. "It is done," she whispered to Emma. Rachel was really relieved that the thing with Emma was finally done. Emma and Rachel had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Rachel felt happy that she could tell Emma it is done. Emma managed a smile. She said, "That is good." 20 minutes went by. Then they made a decision. The baby was still in trouble. Dr. Patterson decided that Emma needed to have an emergency C-section. The room started to get really busy as the nurses got everything ready for Emma to have surgery. They gave Rachel some clothes to wear so she could go into the operating room. With Emma in the waiting room, a nurse came over to Jonathan. She said, "Mr. Blake, they are taking your wife in for a C-section now. Jonathan, you can get ready to go if you want to be there when your baby's born." The nurse told Jonathan that he could scrub in and be with his wife during the birth of his baby. Jonathan was going to be a dad. He could be there for the birth of his baby. The nurse said they were going to do the C-section because it was an emergency and Jonathan's wife needed it. Jonathan's wife was going to have a baby. Jonathan could be there to see his baby being born. Jonathan stood up, his legs felt a bit shaky. This was his chance to do something for a change. He went with the nurse to the place where they get ready. For surgery, he washed his hands, put on the special gown and mask. Just as he was about to go into the operating room, Dr. Patterson came out to talk to Jonathan. "Mr. Blake, your wife wants her friend Rachel to be with her. She does not want you to be in the operating room where she will be. Your wife has made it clear that she would like Rachel to accompany her, not you." The words really hurt him. He felt like he had been punched. "But I am her husband," he said. "I am the father of her children. The woman has said what she wants. I am sorry. I have to do what my patient wants. The patient has made it clear what she wants, so I have to respect the patient's decision." Jonathan stood there, looked through the little window as they took Emma away to surgery. Rachel was walking next to the bed thing, holding Emma's hand. Then the door. Jonathan was all alone outside. He felt like he did not matter all during the most important moment of his life. Jonathan thought about Emma, how he was not with her when it really counted. The door being closed made Jonathan feel more left out. Jonathan wished he could be with Emma. The surgery took 40 minutes. Jonathan walked back and forth in the hallway. He was really scared, felt guilty. Jonathan thought his whole world was coming apart. His phone kept ringing with messages from the people who worked with him at Blake Technologies. The people who gave him money and his lawyers. They all wanted to talk to him. Blake Technologies was doing badly. The big deal they were working on was not going to happen. Jonathan did not care about any of this. His wife and kid were in surgery. Jonathan felt bad because he was not with them. He thought it was his fault that they were in the hospital. Jonathan kept thinking about his wife and kid, not about Blake. Technologies are the people who were trying to reach him. So Dr. Patterson came out, took off her surgical mask. She said, "Congratulations, Mr. Blake. You have a baby boy." Baby weighed 8 pounds and 2 ounces. Dr. Patterson also said that the mother and the baby boy are both doing well. Relief washed over Jonathan strongly that his knees almost gave way. He asked, "Can I see the people he was talking about?" "Your wife is getting better. The hospital staff will move her to a room in about 1 hour. You can go see the baby in the nursery now if you want to." Jonathan walked with the nurse to the window of the nursery. There was a baby in a bassinet. The baby was wrapped up in blankets and had a sign that said "Baby Boy Blake." This was his son. The baby was so perfect and innocent. He did not know about all the things that were happening around him. Jonathan put his hand on the glass and tears started coming down his face. This was the time he had cried in a very long time. Jonathan thought about baby boy Blake. He felt so much love for him. The baby was just lying there. Jonathan felt like his whole world had changed. He looked at baby boy Blake again. Felt happy and sad at the same time. Jonathan was really emotional as he stood there looking at his son, baby boy Blake. His phone buzzed again. He got an email from Judith Brennan. The thing is, he did not know who Judith Brennan was. The subject line of the email said regarding the Martinez Family Trust and Riverside Corporation. He looked at the Martinez Family Trust part, wondered what it was about. The Riverside Corporation was also mentioned. He was still confused. The email was about the Martinez Family Trust and Riverside Corporation. He had no idea what to expect. Jonathan's hands were shaking really badly as he opened the email. The things he saw in that email made everything feel totally different, like the whole world had turned. "Down, dear Mr. Blake, I am writing to you on behalf of the Martinez family trust. The Martinez Family Trust has a lot of control over Riverside Corporation. I want to tell you that your wife, Emma Blake, is the person in charge of the Martinez Family Trust. She is also the one who gets all the money from the trust. Emma Blake used to be called Emma Martinez before she married you. She got all these shares from her uncle, Henry Martinez, after he passed away 15 months ago. Since the beginning, she has been the one making the decisions. About the merger proposal, tonight Emma Blake decided to vote no to the merger proposal. This means the acquisition is not going to happen. She wants you to know that this is not about getting at you. This is about what happens when you do something. She made up her mind about this when she was having your son. She was waiting for you to pick your family over your job. You made a choice. From on, if you want to talk about this, you need to talk to this office. Sincerely, Judith Brennan. Attorney at law. Jonathan read the email 3 times. Every single word of the email made him feel really bad. It was about Emma. She is his wife. Emma is a quiet and soft-spoken person. She was the one who was really in charge of Riverside. She saw Jonathan trying to make a big deal happen. The whole time, she was the one who had control over it. Emma was testing Jonathan. He did a very bad job. The woman he did not think was very important, the woman he ignored, and the woman just ruined everything he worked for with one vote. Jonathan thought about Emma and what she did.